BBC Radio Berkshire, Amy Winehouse, Love is a Losing Game. We're going to talk about turbulence now. Suze, have you ever suffered turbulence in the air?
I don't...
Or not in the air?
I don't think what I've gone through is proper turbulence, but I didn't fly till I was 22, and my first flight was pretty hairy, in that I had to be restrained by the air stewardesses because I tried to leave as the plane.
While you were flying?
As the plane was taxiing down the runway.
Oh, I see, down the runway, yeah.
So they literally grabbed hold of me and just kept me talking until we were in the air, and then literally throughout the whole flight they plied me with gin and very, very sweet tea.
It scares you flying?
Absolutely scares me rigid. Yeah. I'm a bit better now, but every bump I thought the plane was going to fall from the sky.
But even if it was going down the runway, though, for goodness sake, you hadn't had a chance to have turbulence there.
But it's just that moment when you're in the plane and it's all lovely, and then there's a jump.
Yeah, I know.
And then they say, please put on your seatbelt.
It's like the plane's dropping, isn't it?
Yeah, you just think, that's it. Well, most people don't.
I quite like it, actually, but most people don't, I know.
That's because you're a daredevil, Tony.
I am. I'm just living on the edge.
You are, constantly, in your onesie.
Scientists at the University of Reading studying climate change are predicting that flights across the North Atlantic will run into more turbulence in the future. Researchers say turbulence will increase by between 10 and 40% by 2050, but it won't affect the safety of flying. Dr. Paul Williams, who's from the university, says the change may lead to more expensive journeys as pilots try to avoid the worst areas. And Paul joins me now. Hello, Paul.
Good morning, Tony.
So why do you think that the turbulence will increase?
So the thing about climate change is that it's not just warming the lower part of the atmosphere where we all live, it's also changing the basic state of the atmosphere 10 kilometres up above our heads where planes fly. And in particular, one thing that is happening and expected to continue to happen is that the jet stream 10 kilometres up in the atmosphere is getting stronger. That's making the atmosphere more susceptible to the kind of instability that causes turbulence to form.
Yeah, what exactly is turbulence?
Well, it's random fluctuations in mainly the up and down wind speed. So we're all familiar with horizontal wind speeds, but when you get 10 kilometres up, there's also an up-down airflow as well. And it's those random fluctuations which exert forces on the wings of the plane and basically bump it up and down, and that's what we experience as turbulence.
So is this going to, the safety of flying, is this going to put it in jeopardy or not? So currently planes encounter turbulence tens of thousands of times each year worldwide, and it does scare many people, frequent flyers and first-time flyers. But it does also injure hundreds of passengers and crew every year. Yeah. Normally people who haven't got their seatbelt fastened. And, of course, any increase in turbulence would be expected to increase all of these statistics as well. I mean, I don't want to put anyone off flying. No. Turbulence is a rare event. 99% of the atmosphere does not contain turbulence at any one time. And we're predicting that will become 98%. So it's still safe. When you're on a flight, you normally do get a bit of turbulence, don't you? I mean, you always get that sign saying, it's normally when you're in the loo. you go in the loo and suddenly it's, please get back to your seat. And, there's normally turbulence in a flight, say, to America. You normally encounter it, but not too bad, usually.
You might get about 10 minutes on average, and what we're saying is that could double. And I'm with you in a way. I quite like a bit of turbulence these days because it makes a change from sitting in front of a computer screen and watching simulations of it. Scientists should immerse themselves in their research.
It sort of relieves the monotony of the flight, doesn't it?
I wouldn't want it to get too bad, though.
No.
I mean, there are every now and then it does injure someone fatally who perhaps hits their head against the roof of the plane and suffers a skull.
I've never really. That's not a regular thing, is it?
That's not regular. It's been a few years, I think, since that happened.
And this will put the prices up, you were saying, as well.
Well, it could do. One possible implication is that flights will have to go on more circumvented or convoluted routes with more bends and twists in them to fly around the turbulence rather than straight through it. And, of course, that means more fuel burn, more emissions of atmospheric pollutants as well, incidentally. But also the cost of the fuel the airlines have to pay for, and presumably that will get passed on to passengers.
Have you noticed everything in life now, there's a problem, isn't there, Paul? Absolutely everything.
There are solutions as well. There's a slight ray of light here, which is that if we can get better at predicting turbulence in advance, when we're quite good at it now, but there's room for improvement, then pilots will know at the start of the flight where the turbulence will be, and they can plan their route to avoid it, so that you don't suddenly hit these bumps of turbulence all of a sudden when you're on the loo, as you inevitably are.
And the great thing is, you're talking about in 2050, and I'll tell you what, Paul, I don't give a damn because I'm not going to be here.
It's a lot. Well, it's only 40 years. I don't know.
I don't think I'm going to be here in 40 years, unless there's a miracle drug that suddenly appears. Paul, lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for taking the time. It's time now for the travel.